Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hey, it's Robert J. Moore, Next Level. Ourselves. I'm Robert J. Moore. I'm an international best-selling author, and I'm here to interview
Don Greens. I'm CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I've been in this position for going on 19 years. I was a bank president for 20 years previous to that, so I've been around a while.
So what do you think the difference is for being a bank manager across to being with Napoleon Hill?
It's having passion for what you're doing. You can learn anything if you're willing. To be successful, all you got to do is have something on your mind when you go to bed, wake up with on your mind, and when you're having your meal of the day, think about it. And
Chapter 2.
It's not that complicated.
That's the thing. A lot of people, they give up 10 minutes before the miracle actually happens.
Yeah.
I used to be one of those. I'm not going to lie. I was a troublemaker before. I was a drug addict, alcoholic, right? And I started reading all these different things. And I said, well, something's going to happen. And someone actually gave me the advice. And it was Les Brown when he said, don't let someone else's thoughts become your reality. And it was like, boom, it was a change right then and there.
Yeah, sometimes we can learn what not to do is important to learn what to do.
That's correct.
I think it's too much. I think it's too much emphasis put on overcoming adversity. You can avoid a lot of the adversity simply learning what not to do. That's as important sometimes as learning what to do. For example, if someone tells you that stove is hot, and you'll get burnt if you put your hand on it, I don't have to experiment. If I see somebody making the same mistake, I can learn from it what they did wrong and correct it, or I can say, I'm not going to pick up at a horseshoe that's just come out of the coals.
Yeah.
I've heard it will burn you. Some things you accept as fact, and you don't live long enough to make all the mistakes. You have to avoid some of them.
I tried making my own mistakes and tried learning by my own mistakes. I became old fast.
Yeah, you can go under but keep making the same mistakes. The Einstein gave us that perfect definition of insanity. It was doing the same thing over and over again.
That's right.
Expecting different results.
Well, look at Chapter 2. If you want to move things forward, look at Chapter 2. Chapter 2 actually helps you out in Napoleon Hill when it talks about what do you want to accumulate in a period of time. But a lot of people, when they do that, they don't actually put the specific time date on it. They don't actually put what they're going to give back on it, right? They're not going to tell. They're not going to tell people.
And that's the big one. They skip that one, because it says what do you want, but then it asks you basically what do you turn to give. If you want corn out of the garden, you either got to plant a seed or you got to exchange some money for it, and they seem to want to skip that step. And I remember I did a fundraiser with Zig Ziglar one time at a Christian college, and Zig said, "Did you get anything in the mail from Sears Roebuck today?" And of course, the answer is no. He said, "You must not have ordered nothing." So if you've not planted a seed, don't sit there with your hand out wanting something to be put in it. So many people don't have anything to offer to exchange for the money. They want the money, but they don't have anything to give to receive the money.
That's correct. Tell me something. Why should someone read Napoleon Hill's book? A lot of people sit there, look at it, and they use it as a doorstopper.
Well, I can tell you, Jim Stovall, who's a blind guy, has written 40-some books. One of his books sold 5 million copies. 8 of them have been made into movies. Been a friend for a long time. The guy's blind. And I can tell you that he's got a stock portfolio up in the millions. And he said he used to ask people if they had read Think and Grow Rich. But then he started realizing, he said if they had money, he asked them what year they first read Think and Grow Rich. And so, the list is a mile long. So
Bob Proctor swears up and down by the book.
Like Billy Ray Cyrus, musician, the Draymond John from Shark Tank. The list is a mile long. People in the business world and even people like Jack Canfield, Victor Hansen, Tony Robbins. They all got their start reading Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, that's right.
Tony Robbins' book, Waking the Sleeping Giant Within. If you'll buy the 1960 copy of Success to a Positive Mental Attitude, that was the exact words of the subtitle. Success to a Positive Mental Attitude, Awaken the Sleeping Giant Within was the subtitle of that book. So lots of people got their start. Sharon Lecter read it when she was 19. She's in college. There's this distinguished bunch of people read the book. Mitt Romney run for president. It was given to him by his counselor when he was doing missionary work with a Mormon church. He told him to read it and discuss it. And the reason some books you read to find out if the boy hits the girl or if the uncle dies and leaves them money. But in a book like Think and Grow Rich, we can take that information and we can write our own ending. We don't have to wait to read the end of the book. We can write our own story, and that's the important thing. And the reason we read it more than once is, Robert, I don't know about you, but I didn't get all my ABCs the first time. I skipped some of them. I didn't get all my multiplication tables. But if someone comes up and says, Robert, what's 8 times 8? It's 64. It's in your subconscious. And how did we learn it? By repeating.
That's right.
Say it over and over again until it becomes a part of us. And we read the material again. The material has not changed since 1937, but we've changed. You read my book, you read your books, you read Les Brown's books, you read these other people's books. So we look at things in a different light because we've changed. We've matured more. We've had more exposure. We have more life experiences. No, the material's not changed. And so that's the reason you should read the thing more than one time. Unless you one of those people that gets it all down. I mean, I know Joe Dudley has got I've been with him. He came here and spoke to kids at college. He told me he read it more than 300 times. His staff, he gets them together once a week, and they discuss some part of Think and Grow Rich. And the guy's up. I was invited to his birthday party, and I couldn't go. I sent one of the trustees. But Joe's in his 80s, I think, and still active in his business. He's got the largest minority-owned cosmetic company in the country. In fact, he went over and did a large business venture with Nelson Mandela, in Africa, and give thousands of women jobs, and set up a cosmetic factory in Africa with Nelson Mandela.
Very nice.
So we know that every day that the material has influenced on a regular basis. Well, we launched our book in Canada. I have a good friend, Satish Verma, and he's a tremendous story. He grew up in slums in India, was able to come to Canada on a scholarship and then get a master's degree in psychology. So, and he had failures, but he used some of his last money to take the course in Think and Grow Rich, and it's unbelievable. He's got connections all over the world. I mean, like I recently licensed our material and went down there to Jamaica, but the list is unbelievable. I mean, we licensed our material with Cyril Locke, West Germany, South Africa, Dubois, Egypt, all of North and South America, all of Central America, because some of the Caribbean islands, and we're working on those. At present, we have close to 500 foreign publishers.
Wow.
We have 17 different publishers in Russia. I have 18 different publishers in China, 40 some in the Hispanic language. So our books are we publish all over the world. I publish books in Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Turkey, Cyprus, Slovenia, Ukraine, Belarus, you name it. I got an inquiry just a while ago from Pakistan and one from Portugal. But in a given day, lots of days we'll get 10 or 12 inquiries from 10 or 12 different foreign countries in one single day.
Wow.
You know the story of the Coca-Cola. You talked about the enchanted kettle. It made the Coca-Cola, took the ingredients and made Coca-Cola. There's an old picture of a kettle in there. So the young people read that book with a picture like, Hill covered the Wright brothers' flight. We actually have a newspaper clipping. It said, the young cub reporter by the name of Napoleon Hill covered the flight of the Wright brothers. And so we tell a little bit of that story there, but there's a nice colored pictures of that plane, a colored picture, black and white picture of that plane taking off in the full page in the book. So it should be interesting to read to young people. In fact, I mailed out 10 today when I went to lunch to a priority box because the guy wanted to give them to some young people. And he put up a good store. We don't try to sell books out of the office, but occasionally we'll get somebody who's really got a good story, and we'll fix up 10 or whatever. If it's in the 50s or 100s, we let them pay us for them, let the publisher mail them out, because we don't have the staff to mail one book out at a time.
I tell you, I'm honored to be studying the book myself for over and over and over. I don't stop. I continue doing the book. Right? It's not, to me, it's not just a read and you put it aside. It's a study.
No, I drive a Lexus and a pickup truck, and both of them have got things in the side door, and I just stick a Think and Grow Rich in that door. And so if I'm at a red light or if I'm waiting on somebody, I got a few minutes, I can always open my thing up and read a few lines. Because I use the quote from Mark Twain: people that don't read, they're no better off than people that can't read.
There you go.
And the good majority of the people don't read.
It's true.
They don't read. I mean, they simply, once they get through school, I heard a guy say one time, the saddest words he ever heard was a boy got his diploma, and as he got his diploma, he cursed and said, "I've read my last book." Well, it's not. I'm on the board of the University of Virginia and have been, God, it seemed like 20 years, continuous. And the exercise really where they give you a diploma, it's really, the proper name is commencement, meaning a new beginning. Not like graduated. Graduated is when they put you on the ground. You're gone. Yeah. You know, you've went to another plane. Okay, it's a commitment. It's commencement. It means I'm getting a new start. I'm gonna go out there and I've learned some stuff. Now I'm gonna go out there and see if it works. I'm gonna apply it, and I'm gonna take what it does, because the knowledge without, it's not what they told us. Knowledge is power. It's not POWR. It's potential. It's only worthwhile when you use it. You can memorize everything in every course in a college, and you will not make no money off it. You got to go in Jeopardy or something. You got to do something with it.
True.
You know, it's like if you're married and your spouse says, "Here, Robert," she writes down about 10 things. Said, "I'm gonna make the best cake you've ever eat," and you go down the store and you get them and you bring in ingredients, you put them out on the table. Ain't nothing gonna happen. So she mixes them things up and decides that it needs to go 400 degrees, it needs to go for 35 minutes or whatever, make some decisions, put together. Robert's not going to be eating no cake.
That's right.
You have all the ingredients there, and it's all in the books. But what the value of it is what you see a line and it says to you, where can I use that? And if you know me, you wouldn't realize I can almost do nothing. I told that to my daughter one day. I can't fix. My dad was an electrician in the coal mines. He could fix a car, the farm tractor, pocket watch, he can fix it. I can't fix nothing. They won't even let me hang a picture in the office. I have no mechanical talents whatsoever. I was complaining to my only daughter one day. She's a CPA, and I said, "Your dad can fix nothing." She said, "But you've been pretty good at making money." So I guess we can't all have all the talents, and I don't even claim to. But what I learned to be good at a long time ago was I can find somebody can do it, and I can go on to something else. I have about 25 books with a company, a publisher called Jerry, J-R-R Bookstore, in Saudi Arabia. And I always love the books, and they come in, our contract calls for two books, and they send them to us, and comes in a thing that says on the outside Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But since we've been doing business over, I don't know where we've had any influence or not, but I do know that in the news, women can now drive cars in Saudi Arabia, and they can attend sporting events. Now that might not be a big deal over here, but in Saudi Arabia, I would say that's a big deal. So there's hope for the world. And
that's beautiful.
And books is a good way to do it because, Robert, people all over the world have the same wants or needs: food, clothing, shelter, security, progress for their family, and so forth and so on. We may have different skin textures, speak different languages, and so forth, but they basically down to us. The feeling the need to be appreciated is the strongest desire any human being alive has, and there's really not that much difference in us. We're more alike than we are difference, but we can harp on those differences and create nothing but trouble, and it's a lack of understanding, and I think we get a lot closer through books. I'll admit to being a little bit prejudiced, but we've made lots of friends. I've had people come here from Macedonia. Okay, people don't work as a professor, and as a result of that, he brought a guy from Voice of America, and I did a Voice of America interview, and I could watch the screen, and he told the number of people, show us clicking on it. Hundreds of thousands of people saw that interview. And of course, I've done other Voice of Americas, but when the guy came from Macedonia, the professor, he brought me a couple of books that had been done in Macedonia. But I also know a little about the history because that's where in Corinthians Paul left after Christ was crucified. He went there and he made several trips. And I've also published books in Armenia. That's a little bitty country. About 1.5 million people, I believe. They had genocide. Most of the people got wiped out. But it's the language that Christ spoke. Experience, and the friends we make is you couldn't put no price on it. But the young people will. That's a beautiful thing. We've endowed 20 scholarships at the University of Virginia. We have Napoleon Hill scholars, which are the best of the best kids in school, and they under a professor. They go into the schools, detention centers, job corps, high schools, grade schools, college, different avenues, and there will be two of them or three at a time, and they'll present one of the principles, like coordination or applied faith or so forth. And the kids get $4,500 a piece a year as long as they're in college. Nice. So we set up a professorship in Napoleon Hill's name, and we keep adding to the scholarship, so we keep bumping up the money they get. And we've done that over a period of time, a couple million dollars. So that's the reason we do what we do, because I see the effect of the kids that went through the programs that stayed in touch with us. I could tell you story after story after story. It's a good feeling. I don't need that.
It is. When you see another person achieve because you're helping them, you could just sit back and let it ride.
Well, I guess for a long, long time I've heard people say, the guys are leaving a legacy, left a legacy or something. No, that's partly right. Mm-hmm. But I think a proper word is live a legacy.
Well,
I enjoy seeing what I did while I'm still here. I'm assuming things will be going after I'm gone. They went on before us here, so the world will flip over.
Your legacy is still going until you're deceased.
Check out. But I have seen the effects. Zane's will have his CPA here next year, his sister worked for him for 6 years. She was valedictorian in high school. I heard her in high school. Mm-hmm. She worked for me. She's now a pharmacist. Another little girl worked for him for 6 years. And in May of this next year, she'll have a PhD in medicine. So just being around those young people and seeing what progress they make and all, it's very rewarding. And that's the reason we do what we do.
I'll tell you something, because of the book, honestly, because of the book, me reading the book, studying the book, living the book, and putting it out there, I got off the drugs and alcohol over 13 years now. I got social service worker diploma, my dictions degree, my BA in psychology, master's in counseling psychology. I've got honorary doctorate degree, right? I've won Citizen of the Year. I've won numerous awards because of the fact that I put myself in the proper perspective up here with that book.
Well, the same was me. I've been that, and I've served as president of the foundation board, which is a money raising arm of the college, for 15 or 16 years. I've been president of the Chamber of Commerce. I've been Citizen of the Year. God knows, the chairman of the board of Catholic Hospital for years, though I'm not a Catholic. I'm president of Qantas. I've had all kinds of honors bestowed upon me. I got the Sam Walton Award, Volunteer Award at the college one year. The list goes on and on. But being able to be in a position to help other people is less fortunate. Acts 20:35. More blessed to give and receive, and I learned that from my parents many years ago.
Yeah, you know what? When I received these awards, I told them, I said, why am I getting these awards? They said, because you're helping so many different people out. We want to reward you for helping them out. I said, that's a good feeling right there, to know I'm helping these people and they're achieving, right? But it doesn't all go to me. I always say, you know what? Give Christ the credit, because I'm just doing the work.
Yeah, the Acts 20:35 was my verse of the year for one year, and every morning we should get up and say, "Lord said, let me help somebody today."
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily money. Sometimes it's a book. I remember when my mom was 90. She said, "Don, you give away a lot of books." She said, "You guess them kids read them?" I said, "Some of them do." I said, "Because I did. I read them."
Yeah.
So it's that's where it ends. I'm sure a lot of them don't read them.
5 out of 100 do. Then that's 5 you touched. 5 more than before.
Yeah, your obligation ends when you present it. That's right. And Hill wrote over and over again. He said, when the student was ready, the teacher would appear. Mm-hmm. Everybody's in the same room, hears the information, but because their biases or their previous education or previous experience, they're not going to interpret it all the same. I mean, I've had people tell me that that the book Think and Grow Rich wasn't about money. I said, we need to read it again. Your impression, the original book, here's a copy of the original book, which is the best-selling Think and Grow Rich book out there. The original copy said, for men and women who resent poverty. He said in the book, he wrote it for the millions of men and women who are living in poverty and in fear of poverty. Either one of them is damaging. If you're in poverty or you're fear you will be in poverty, they're damaging to you. And there's so many of things that poverty does to you. It destroys your happiness. It destroys your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and on and on and on. It affects your health. It has a lot of byproducts which are not necessarily good for you. And so it was. And of course, he matured as he got older. The last book he published before he died was Grow Rich and Peace of Mind. He realized it took more than money to have a complete life. You have to get yourself and sometime we have time, we'll go through the uses of money. I think I figured it out a long time ago. But most people never reach that stage. The final use of money is being in a position to make a difference in other people's life of your own choosing.
That's right.
If you choose to help your college, your grandkids, your church, St. Jude's, wherever what worthy cause, but you can make a choose. Most people never reach that stage. They're sitting back there and they've not figured out the proper use of money. They haven't had discipline. They didn't do the second use of money. First one, food, clothing, and shelter. President Eisenhower said, if all you're getting out of life is food, clothing, and shelter, get all 3 of them in prison. Life should be more than that. But you have to learn the proper use of money and what money is for and what it can do. The same money that buys a opiates, or what they call them drugs, is the same money that could be sent to St. Jude's to do research to save a young person's life. It's not the money, and money is not the root of all evil. It's a love money. The same money can be used for good deeds or it can be used for harmful. But we can make that. We get to make that choice. That's our choice we make.
I'm in the position today that last year on Father's Day, I called my dad over, and I said, Dad, I want you to sit down and tell me, are you going to continue doing this job you're doing? Because you're killing yourself. You need new knees, new hip. He says, I can't afford to retire. And I said, how much do you need to retire per year? He gave me an amount. And I said, how about if I give you that money per year? Would you retire? He started crying. He says, my son's going to retire me? And I said, Dad, you looked after me. It's my turn to look after you. Now, I did that for 2 years. Helped him out for 2 years. But he died afterwards. But he died a happy man, a proud man.
Well, that's what we're supposed to do. And sadly, most people never learn the discipline of money and what money can do for them. Money's just a tool. It's plain and simple. It's a tool. I've read everything Warren Buffett has ever wrote, I think, and I followed him. I don't have Warren Buffett's money, but I guess I'm not doing bad. But Warren Buffett said it real good. He said, if you're not making money while you're asleep, you'll never be rich.
Yeah, it's true.
It simply means you got to have some investment stuff out there. Not many people are going to have a job. Here was a goal of mine at a young age. I said, if I can ever have enough investments to pay me as much as a salary is paying me, I'll be in good shape. Because it's the money above your living expenses that you can invest. It's what you do with that money's left over.
That's right.
Do you go buy Microsoft stock, Amazon's, Walgreens, Walmart, Johnson & Johnson, Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola? I had a guy come out of the bank one day as I was going in. He had a phone in his hand, cell phone. He said, Don, I know you're a banker. I know you do investments. Well, I got a little money. What would you invest in? You know what I told him? I could have told him, listen, I own Verizon stock, I own AT&T stock, and I own Vodafone. Everybody's got a phone. Most people got 2 or 3 of them. But I never told him that. And I would tell you the same thing if you asked me. The best money you ever spent was money invested in yourself. The second best money you'll ever invest in is money you invest in your employees.
Yeah.
Because if you got to continuously, who you going to listen to? Warren Buffett, you can learn from him. But some of the things he invests in and the amount of risk he can take, it might not apply to everybody else. But he invests in Coca-Cola, one of his largest stockholders, as a bit, Apple, for example, and so forth and so on. I mean, I was at a picnic one time, and a family member said, and I was a young banker, I was making money. And believe me, when you be a bank president, you can have money coming on the side. You're in pretty good shape, especially for 20 years. And this guy said was, the only 2 people that's got much money either got it dishonest or his give to them. And I called him by his first name. He's dead now. I could say it, but I called him by his first name, and I said, with that attitude and that belief, you'll never have much money. Because some of us have worked hard, and we've done the right thing. We've been blessed, but we've worked hard, and we've been rewarded. My daughter's in college. I was always sending her books after I read them. And she told her mom one day on the phone, said, Daddy keeps sending me them books. He don't know how much studying I got to do. I know they're good books. He said, I don't have time to read them, but said, I read what he's underlined. So she's taking a shortcut, but she's also an avid reader.
There you go.
When we hang up, you sit down with a pencil and you think, now, who's the 5 most successful people I've ever been around? I don't necessarily mean money. And you will discover one trait. They're all avid readers. And I can provide my list, and I would assure you they're all avid readers.
Like I said, I've studied 40 of the top achievers in the world. And you're one of them I studied, right? And it goes right from Jim Rohn right across, right? Ziegler, I mean, come on. I mean, these are the powerful people they all read.
Yeah.
Every single one powerful person out there has read. They're all telling you the same thing.
Somebody asked me once, I know Ziegler, when he passed away, a couple of newspapers called me, but it was in 2002 or something. Anyway, I did a fundraiser with him at a college up in Pennsylvania, and someone took our picture. But anyway, he signed it and he framed it, sent to me, and it said, "Don, God loves you, and I do too, Zig Ziglar," and put the date on it. So I thought, I ought to hang it up in my office. So I'm out front. It's a hanging in my office. I said, if you were sure you'd see good friends that we know says. If you want to be a winner, hang around winners. Instead of you want to be a loser, just guess what? That's the reason that saying comes in: misery loves company. People want to hang around their own types. But right. I would choose to say, try to pick yourself a bunch of winners, and you can be more likely to be one of them.